Hey, what's up, everybody? It's been a while. I gotta apologize for that. It's been quite a few months, and uh, you know, didn't put out any videos. If you want a background, I started working for a official Magento partner, and things got a little busy, but things are just awesome. Learned so much since then. But I, got to bring it back to you guys because you fans are just freaking awesome. I love when I see comments from you guys saying, hey, when's the next tutorial? Blah, blah, blah. Finally have some downtime. My birthday's tomorrow, so I'm just kind of hanging out today. And I figured I'd throw you a, quick video on what I think is probably the next thing that you should learn, and that is Magento's XML. And if you don't know XML, it might seem a little bit scary at first, but you'll start to be able to Google things, and you'll realize that Magento relies very heavily on XML. If you're a front-end developer, you're going to want to understand how Magento handles XML in order to display what's on the screen at the current time. So this is incredibly important. And as far as theming goes, you have to know this, or else you're going to be like anybody else that could suck at Magento. But I got to give a shout out to you guys. 325 subscribers. That's amazing to me. And you guys are like soldiers. You just keep coming back and saying like, hey, yeah, do this other one. So I'm gonna go back to the category page. I think this is a good example, and I'm gonna show you how XML will dictate what's going on the front end in Magento. So I'm on a category page, and you notice this looks like crap. Here's column 1 according to Magento, here's column 2, and down here, here's column 3. So I'm going to go just grab my hints and show you what's going on here. And if you don't know about the template path hints, I mentioned that in tutorial 1. But it's pulling from our custom theme template 3 columns. But I really don't want that going on. If you noticed right here, I've never seen a Magento store actually use this crap. Maybe once in a while, but the compare products, like customers don't really understand what's going on here. So what I'm going to try and do and show you how to do is set this to a 2-column layout. One with a column right here, second column right here, no third column. Magento just includes this by default. So let's go and see what's going on here. Right now I just have styles CSS open here. But I mean, what we talked about in the past is, everything as far as the template files goes are under template. I haven't talked much about layout. And layout is kind of what dictates what goes on in the templates. So let me give you an example. Catalog XML. This will say, okay, what PHTML files, when I turn on the template path hints and you see all those files that are being loaded, they're actually right here. And it'll tell you exactly what's going on. So this is where the heart of Magento front-end development actually is. Now, there's a bit of, the cascading as far as XML goes. I mean, you might have one thing overriding another. but the file that has the last say, or the last XML update in your Magento store is one that you create, and it's called local.xml. Notice how I have nothing right here, and right now I don't need to have anything, but say there's a page that says, okay, in this particular template we're going to load X, Y, and Z. Well, local XML is the last thing that Magento reads, and local XML will say, okay, no, we're going to do it this way. So right now we've got a 3-column layout here, and I'm just going to go back to show you right here, which is under page, and we have 3 columns, .phtml, and that's loading this file right here. And now let's go back to local XML, because like I told you, it's the last thing that the file reads, and I really don't want it to I don't want it to load this part at all. And a lot of people say, well, go to the admin panel and disable that or change the page template to this, that. But what happens if you're making a Magento site and you're working locally, and then you want to deploy onto a customer's site? Well, then you don't want to have to go to the customer site and then go to the admin panel and then change a bunch of things and say, okay, use this template for this and use this template for this. You can do that in XML and then not have to worry about anything database side, and you can actually not have to worry about anything as far as files go. So let me just show you a bit. So all you need to do, and like I said, we used to be working a lot in the template folder, and now we're going to be working in the layout folder, and you just create a file called local.xml. And normally what we have right here is the category page. So if I went into catalog, and you don't have to memorize everything here, it's going to mention catalog category default. So it says that it supports the layout handle files, and it'll add all these blocks here. So it'll add this little image source, it'll add a bunch of other stuff. Things get added basically through the layout files here. So XML is really the heart of Magento, at least for front end. So once you create a local XML file, this overwrites anything that might overwrite other shit. So if you know about CSS and using things like important, that's kind of what local XML does. It says, fuck you, this is more important, so we're going to listen to this, and this is going to be the last say. So right now this is using 3 columns, which I don't want. I don't care for back to school. I don't care for a community poll. Nobody uses compare products. I just want a 2-column layout. So let me go back here and I'll show you what we can do. I'm copying and pasting this, but I'm going to describe it as well. So right now, 3-column layout. Okay, so local XML. Basically, we tell it that it's XML. And I won't be like a jackass that hides like half of his code. I'll expose it all in case you want to, I don't know, copy and paste, blah, blah, blah. But right now, what we do is we have these XML nodes, and in this case it's called layout, and then right here we're doing catalog category default, which I think if we look in the default file, let's do a find. Yeah. So this file handles it, but because we're using local XML, local XML, like I said, has the best say. So we're referencing the root and we're saying we're going to set a template. Now, when we set a template, let me go ahead and minimize this. When we do set a template, it's going to refer to app design front end, blah, 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 template, and then we see page, 2 columns left. So we have page, 2 columns left, and now it's going to load this file instead of the 3 columns file. Then we end the template and then we add the action. So the actions are, I almost want to say they're listeners that say, okay, do this stuff. And in this case, the method is set the template for this. We're going to set it to 2 columns left. And I'll go ahead and save. And I'll go back to my local setup. And I'll just refresh. And there we go. Now it's doing the 2 columns thing. That entire right column is just not going to be pulled in. And this is very, very important to get into. And I think the next 1 or 2 tutorials might be just based on XML, because I can't tell you how important it is. I'm going to go get a my Magento certification in probably the next 2 weeks, and it is so heavy on XML that it's unbelievable. So I hope this helps. Thank you guys for staying with me, and I'm gonna be putting out some major updates in the future. But so far I hope this isn't too heavy. It's the lightest things that I've seen in layout, but we're gonna get into some cool stuff in regards to how layout works, or how XML works within the Magento template files, so that when we look at a let me give you an example. Template to catalog product, not new. Let me do a search here. So, for example, right here, when you see get child HTML and it says alert URLs, that's actually using a method. And what you'll be seeing in layout, I guarantee if I go to product and then catalog, yep, there it is. So when people are saying, get child HTML alert URLs, it's actually referring to this, and it's actually saying, oops. Up here, for example, if you're saying get child HTML media, this is telling it what PHTML file to pull in from. So it's going to seem a bit intimidating at first, but in the next 2 lessons, you'll get it like that, and it's going to sort of free you up as far as thinking as to how Magento handles files. So just wanted to lay this foundation for this groundwork. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Anything that you want to know in regards to any other subject, just message me. I got some free time in my hands. Turning 28 tomorrow, so wish me happy birthday. But aside from that, I hope that this helps, and yeah, happy coding.